Hello again, kicking into the third installment of this little mini-series talking about the new turtles in the Last Ronin Lost Years and the title moving forward being the Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution. Okay, so I just wanted to add in, I'm going to get to this in a minute, but I got this! So I'm not going to spoil anything until, maybe I'll discuss this a tiny little bit at the end, but I'm not going to be using any of the information in here to ruin anyone's experience. Just a heads up for that. I'll give a big warning before I say anything that happened in this. Alright, that's over, bye. Not talking about that now though. All of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is exclusively in the Lost Years book. So you don't have to worry, because that one's been out for a while now. So from what I've gathered, it seems like Odyn is most people's favourite new turtle at the moment, and you know what? I see why. He's a big sweetie. I like him a lot too. So obviously all four of them have quite different personalities, and Odyn being the gentle giant. He's very sweet and a little naive compared to the others, and I like it a lot. The personality traits they've shown off with him so far is that he's kind, naive, and a little sensitive, getting picked on a bit by Uno specifically, but just in general. They've made him a bit of a foodie. That's a big part of his personality, and he just seems very sweet overall. There's quite a few interactions that he's just a little guy in a big guy body. I think I'll talk about the design before I talk about the notable moments, because I have a longer list with Odyn than the other characters who just did all these cute little things. But design-wise, obviously they went in a similar direction to Rise. Again, they're mixing it up, they're making them all very distinct visually. So Odyn is significantly bigger than the other four, and he's covered in all these little spikes, and he's got claws and these little mouth prongs. Most of them I couldn't really say, oh, they look like this specific turtle. They seem to be, basically fantasy turtles, and that's fine. But I found one that really looks like Odyn. It's called a Mata Mata turtle, and it's got those little mouth prongs, and their whole thing is they're quite big turtles, but they mostly camouflage and hide. They're not like a snapping turtle where they've got a lot of, stuff happening in their mouth that you don't want to deal with. These Mata Mata turtles seem to be just better at camouflaging. And face-wise, they've got the little prongs like Odyn in similar colours, and I think they look really beautiful, actually. When they're babies, they look like dried dead leaves on the forest floor. Stepping away from being a real turtle, he's got a more typical turtle shell shape compared to the others, so it's got the hexagonal pattern, but it's got these little breaks at the edges. They're kind of hard to draw. And on his plastron, there's some little kicks off the side at the top, and there's these square bits that stick out. I don't really love those, so I've chosen not to draw them. They're there. It's just a little bit, I think it overcomplicates a little bit. It's adding angles where it doesn't need to be, but that's okay. It matches the back frills, but I don't know. I just think it could have been a simpler shape there. All of them have really complicated designs. I think as they hire other people to do issues, they're going to have problems with inconsistencies because they're over designed and it's easy to forget little bits. But I'm sure they'll become a little bit more streamlined as they're used and drawn more. Accessories and clothing wise, again, quite simple with they're giving them pants. That's nice. There was one outfit that he wore above ground that was quite funny. He had a big red hood on with little eye slits, and some of the shots it's a bit hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure he's wearing a tiny yellow baseball cap on top of this hoodie. It looks so silly and I love it. It's very cute. I don't know how it stays on, but I like it. And he's wearing big oven mitts as well. I'm not sure if that's just because he thought it was cool or he wanted to hide his hands because they're big and spiky, but it's a fun little outfit, I think. So let's get into some notable moments and interactions. So one of the first scenes we get to see Odyn in is essentially him getting bullied by Uno, and that sort of sparks off Uno and Moja having beef, wanting to protect her brother, and I don't think Odyn is as bothered about it as everyone else is, but that's fine, he seems to get over it. Another one that's cute was the Yi and Odyn. She was trying to teach him how to play chess, and he grabs the little horse pieces and he's like, you know what, I just want them to be friends and like be little horsies. And I like that instead of April shitting on his parade and, saying that's not how the game works, she's like, you know what, I think you're right, Odyn. I think I would prefer them to just be little galloping horsies, entertaining the fact that they are children. I did notice, and it's consistent in both, the Lost Years collection and this new re-evolution issue, that, Kesa Marie's being more of a hard ass, and, she's like, we're training, you are basically child soldiers, we've got this water fight, there's gangs and stuff, and April is more, she's taking up this relaxed, fun grandma personality, and I really like that. She wants them to relax and have a fun time, and Casey's like, no, we've got some serious business, and I don't think it's gonna suit Odyn, and I hope they explore that with his personality. Like, he's too sweet for this, and they're being trained and created to fight, but he's just not the fighting kind, so they can do some fun things with that in the story, I think. They did a little bit at the end of the first issue, but I'm sure they can push it a lot more. One of the other sweet moments, showing off his naive above ground at the party on the Lost Day special, where they went above ground with Grandma April. Odyn was at the punch bowl trying to serve himself up some drinks, and he's like being told like, that's not for little guys, that's an adult drink, and he's insisting that it's juice. So I think that's fun, and you get the little note there that he's like, I'm almost 13, because in each time we see them they age up 3 years. So that was the last time we saw them in the Lost Years, and I've got to assume in the re-evolution issue they're 16, because that was the pattern they were following every 3 years. So I'm assuming at the moment in time where the story is now they're 16, but in that moment when they were having the fireworks and the party they were 13, or almost 13. Just little babies. Another thing I liked in the lead up on that Lost Years special, I really liked the whole donut thing. I did another drawing, sort of like a headcanon or an AU, that like, when they deliver the donuts, one's missing and then you see a picture of Odyn's face covered in chocolate. But I like to think that April let them all have a donut real sneaky. So that's just me and my little headcanon, but Odyn was the only one that was actually drawn with the evidence on his face. That seems to be a real main staple of his personality. Almost every time we visit them, every 3 years there's some food joke, or he's like, I'm hungry, or whatever. That seems to be something he's very into. So on one of the artwork pieces I did in my sketchbook, I've got him holding up like, what have you got to go to the movie? So he's got his soft drink and he's got his chips and he's got his like 3-scoop ice cream with a cherry and a flake. It just seems like just gonna pretend that he gets to have a good time in my sketches, because I'm sure he's not gonna have a good time in issue 2. A few more things from the Lost Years. So, he's sweet and he's a little sensitive. So there's this scene where he like drops a cup and like he doesn't want to pick up the shattered cup because it's too sharp. And this inspires his senseis to tell a story about helping each other, to encourage the other 3 to help him sweep up the glass because he's scared to touch it. And Odyn's got a lot of empathy as well. he were in a training exercise that he had no problem like pretending to fight and like knocking over the mannequin, but he did make a comment about, you know, it's like, oh, the mannequin's head fell off, that kind of makes me feel bad, and you know, the others are like, it's just a doll, it's fine. But you know, like young kids, when they break their toy and they like think they've hurt their toy, I like that. Makes me think like some of the people who are on the team might have children as well. Some little future predictions that I mentioned for their other characters' personalities, you know, where they might take that, or like what a good crux could be. And I was thinking about how Odyn, oh, I should spoil warn now. So I wanted to talk about where he might go, or where the writers might take him, but they kind of went where I thought they would. So I am going to talk about the ending of the Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution now. I'm not going to like show pictures and spoil it, but I was like, oh, he's so sweet, I don't think he's into fighting. What if the first time they have a conflict he freezes up? And they essentially did that, but in like the most literal way possible. He turned to stone. It's like, that's cool. How are they going to fix that? I love that. It ties in really well with his personality, and the fact that he's not very confident when it comes to, you know, push comes to shove. He's too sweet for this. He doesn't want to be a child soldier. He just wants to have a good time. But so that's kind of confirming that maybe all 4 of them are going to get a unique ability, because they showed very clearly early on that Uno has like a camouflage thing, he can change colour. So now we know that Odyn, you know, kind of against his will, can turn into stone. But yeah, on my sketchbook spread, that little black and white one where I was trying to draw him more serious, I did this like weeks ago, and that really looks like the panel where he turns into stone, so I'll just pretend that was my plan all along. I don't know what they're going to do after this, but I think that's a good road to go down with his kind of personality, like explore. This isn't maybe right for him, you know, bring up some ethics about, you know, training young mutant children to go fight in gang wars. Alright, I feel like I'm getting a little overexcited now. Like, he was definitely the most fun to draw, and he's so sweet. I can't wait to see more of him. But yeah, I'm gonna start wrapping this up now. I'll just talk about the art a little bit. Most of these ones, I'm just using a black, like, felt tip pen. It's called a brush sign pen, but it's like a felt tip, it's squishy. And I just wanted to try and draw him a few different ways and like show off different bits of his personality. Most of them are quite cutesy. I tried to do like that one serious one, but I'm not in love with the proportions. I have drawn him better. I did a commission that is not available for people to look at yet. So I can draw him a little bit cooler looking than that. Just think it's cute. I like the little one with the teddy. It gives me teddy bear vibes. But yeah. I used Copic markers to colour these, and like any of the little highlights is just like a white gel pen. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Odyn, instead of just gushing over him being a sweetie patootie. But yeah, I do think it's funny how all the alternative cover arts are all drawing him so serious. And like, I like that he looks serious, but come on, he's a little cute, guys. You could draw him a little cuter. Anyway, that's all for now. I've got Yi is the last one left in this part of the Turtles series, but I do want to talk about April and Casey Marie, because I think they can do a lot of interesting stuff with them, and I really love this approach on April. So that's all for now. Trying to be more consistent with this. I've done all the drawings. I just, you know, making myself sit in a cupboard and record myself and then listening to myself over and over again makes me want to go do the dishes and vacuum instead of doing this. But that's okay, I'm doing it. So thank you for listening and watching. You can look at these pictures a bit better on Instagram if you would like. Yeah, goodbye.